I don't love cliches. I don't love doing things because it's the time. Let's make our resolutions. Let's do that kind of stuff. But at the same time, you almost have to take advantage of times when your emotion is there and the momentum is there. And, by the way, guys, let me know when you're jumping in here. Just say hello. But when you look at this time of the year, and I was just kind of thinking about it, I was in the gym. I put something on Instagram, I think this morning, and it talked about the idea that, we make resolutions because they're great. They're good for us. We know we're kind of like saying what's good for us. But when you look at the number of people who don't actually reach what it is that they say that they want to do, obviously that number is astronomical, right? And I said in this Instagram video, I said, what if you were to write a check to your coach, write a check to your accountability partner, write a check to someone for $1,000, $10,000, something that really matters to you. And the moment that you did not follow through on a consistent basis with what you were supposed to do, they were able to cash that check. Like, how much more motivated would you be, right? But part of that is making sure that the things that we're after are actually doable. I go to the gym and I do the Digi Sweat today and I do those kinds of things. But honestly, guys, I'm very realistic about it. I'm not in there doing a 3-hour session or something like that. I'm just making sure that I'm staying consistent. That's it, right? So when you start looking at what you're trying to do, don't say, hey, I'm going to work out every day this year. It's just not possible. Like 3 days a week, like make it something doable. But more important than that, I want to actually get into with you guys. I'm going to share with you guys my goals a little bit. I'm going to talk about kind of our company numbers, what we're doing. But then I'm going to talk about also, what I think some of you need to do to ultimately get to where it is you're trying to go to. Sometimes there's this tendency when you look at someone like me or other people who are like me, when we, quote unquote high achievers that kind of get a lot done and whatever, we kind of go, well, that's Jared, or well, that's whatever. And we take for granted, what is really going on behind the scenes. Like, we take for granted how much work it takes. We take for granted, I think some of you, forget that I come from a quote unquote broken home, a single mother household, and abuse and poverty and all this kind of stuff. And, when you look at even my living situation growing up, I had 2 brothers who never finished high school, let alone college. There's all these, my point is, my environment isn't what created, what you see today. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that you never even recognize, that you never even, realize, that you just kind of take for granted that, Jared just gets stuff done. It's not true. And you really kind of shortchange yourself when you do that too, because you're giving yourself a built-in excuse, right? So when you look at this year, we finished this year, most of you know, obviously, if you're on here, that I run a coaching company. This is obviously called Jared James Coaching. I run a coaching company, which is, we finished this year between our virtuals and our one-on-ones at just over, I think 7,200 students, 7,200 students. Our goal this year is to get to over 10,000, which is crazy, guys, because when I started, I thought to myself, if we could just, get 50 students, then, we'd be good, And so that's kind of cool. We this year we launched a marketing platform, a software and CRM platform too, that we give to our students for free, and then outside people pay for as well, that got off to a really rocky start, but now is working amazing, and we're able to do things that, that kind of boggles my mind, because I have so much control. Like, when people write in, they're like, I wish it could do this, or I wish it could do that. Developers work for me, which is so cool. We finished the year, which is crazy for a year one, especially with the rocky start that we had, with over 1,000 users, which is, for year one, I don't think you guys understand, from a software company perspective, like, that's pretty humongous, with like no advertising or, anything like that. We just over 1,000 users. Our goal this year is to get our student base to over 10,000, to get our CRM count to over 2,500. We're launching websites now. I've got people beta testing right now. Some of you I've reached out to, that you're beta testing right now. Those are about to be released. There's all these things that are happening. And the question you want to be asking yourself, whether you plug me in, whether you plug yourself in, is why do some people tend to do what it is they say they're going to do, and why do others not? Like really, you've got to ask yourself that, because None of you say at this time of the year, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to run this many miles this year, I'm going to work out this many times a week, I'm going to make this much money, I'm going to close this many transactions, I'm going to do it. None of you do it saying, hey, wait till I disappoint myself. Some of you might have that in your head just because of past experience, but you do it with the expectation it's going to happen. But the problem is most of us, when we look at resolutions and we look at goals, all we're really doing is we're verbalizing what we hope for. That's really all we're doing. It's like, imagine if. What if this? Wouldn't this be cool? And, when I say 2,500 CRM users and I say 10,000, student base, over 10,000 people in our student base, when I say these things, I don't just say them. I have a plan for them. I know how it's going to happen. But I also, and more importantly, and this is where I think a lot of us are falling short, I have a really big consequence if I don't. Right? When I tell you that I posted that thing on Instagram today, and I hope you're all following on Instagram, I'm the same on everything, Jared James Today. But of course you can just go to connectwithjared.com. It's all there. But when I say, hey, write a check to someone for $1,000, $10,000 and tell them that the moment you're not doing what you said you were going to do, they can cash it. The reason why you'll do what it is that you're supposed to do is because there's a huge consequence if you don't. Okay. The reason why, our one-on-one students, which is a different level of commitment, right? They're paying $500 to $1,000 a month. The reason why they on average have a 69% increase in their sales volume and a 43% increase in their commissions and whatever is because there's consequences. Like, you wouldn't pay that money. You wouldn't pay the amount that would literally get you a BMW or a something like that and then just leave it in the parking lot, like leave it in your driveway, leave it in your garage. You'd want to drive it, right? So if you're going to pay that, you need to do what it is they're asking. The reason why, when you look at, we're doing our mastermind in February 9th and 10th, there's still a few spots open there, guys. Like, when you look at the mastermind, the reason why so many of the people who are up on the stage with me at the advance and so many of the testimonials you hear that are like crazy testimonials of like significant growth and people who are now building companies and teams and whatever come from the masterminds, it's because they pay $5,000 to go there. Like, when you put something on the line like that and you go sit in a room for 2 days and you're not answering your phone all day and you're in this, very small group and getting access to information and just being almost forced to implement because it would look crazy in there to not be doing what it is we're asking you to do on the spot. The reason those people have such a high level of success is not because they're better than you. It's not because in many cases they're more well equipped than you. It's not because they're naturally more motivated than you. It's not because they come from better situations than you. It's because they put something on the line. Like, they absolutely put something on the line that would be ridiculous for them to not follow through, right? And so what a lot of you who follow me and otherwise in here need to start asking yourself is, what do you have on the line, right? Like, what have you committed to? Like, is there anything scary you've done at all? I love the number of people that come to our masterminds and they'll tell me afterwards, they were like, this was such a big thing. I was so scared. I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't whatever. And then they're like, I couldn't imagine if I hadn't have done this, because it did scare them a little bit, right? But we're able to keep doing them because they work so well, right? I get the same thing with people with coaching. I get the same thing with people who invest in anything on any level. Now, for me, I want you to think about this from my perspective for a second. So I could very easily just be a one-man show, and I could be very profitable. I could have been just staying what I was doing, selling real estate, whatever. But just the entrepreneur in me, I could be your quote-unquote internet marketer that creates products and creates courses and has no staff and everything's digital and everything's whatever. And I've got friends that do that and they're highly profitable and, it works. Like, I could 100% do that. I've said this to you guys before and it's true. My payroll is over $1 million a year, right? So I want you to think about that for a second. For some of you, that's astronomical. For some of you, maybe that's not that big. For some of you, and it'll be bigger in the future. But like, my payroll is over $1 million. Don't you think there's pressure on me to perform? There's pressure on me to grow. There's pressure on me to be consistent. There's pressure on me. Look at the, I do on here and on Instagram and on Snapchat, I do the Did You Sweat Todays. Did you sweat today? And we have thousands of people that follow that and people who message me all the time and do whatever. that's accountability. Like, if I'm not doing that, guys, I hurt my back a couple weeks ago, like really bad, which a lot of you thought, I always get the old man jokes and everything, but quite honestly, it happens like right after convention season every year. It's from all the flights. I did the event in Spain, over 24 hours of travel. I'm all over the US, Canada, other places. Like, it's just, my back at the end just kind of goes, it just gives. And so I wasn't able to, for like 2 weeks, do Did You Sweat Todays and do that stuff. And the number of messages I got from you guys, like, are you still doing it? Like, what's going on? Is this? And people were actually worried that I had stopped, That's accountability. Like, that is, and obviously I didn't stop. I just could barely move. Like, I was working out of my bed some days. Like, I just couldn't, So you need to start asking yourself, like, what do you have set up that's difficult? How have you challenged yourself? What have you done that's scary? What have you signed up for that worries you a little bit, scares you a little bit, but you know that it's good for you? What accountabilities do you have in place? Because the one thing that I want you guys to get from this is that, look, beginning of the year right now, don't just proclaim stuff. Don't just verbalize stuff because it's what you want. I want to be rich. I want to be in great shape. I want to have an amazing relationship. I want to, that is not what goals and resolutions are all about, right? The goal should scare you a little, but it should also be doable. I've heard people say many times, like, if your goal seems doable, then it's not big enough. That's just such stupid talk. I can't even tell you. It's those are, think big and then think bigger people. Like, it needs to make sense. It should scare you. It should not look doable under your current structure, under the way you're currently doing things, because it should force you to change. That, the whole point of saying what I'm going to do to get better means that what I'm doing right now can get better. Okay? So how does that happen, right? So you guys get the point. Don't just say things just to say them. Don't, how does it make sense? I don't run a coaching company because it's, highly profitable. I could run a million different types of coaching different kinds of companies. I do it because I know it works. I do it because I know the accountability works. So, guys, for some of you, you need to get into coaching. For some of you, you need to sign up for the mastermind and get your butt there and get off the fence. For some of you, you need to understand the software you're using. For some of you, you need to get a transaction coordinator. For some of you, but for all of you, yes, you need to set a goal, but more importantly, it needs to scare you a little bit. You need to do something scary, and you need to understand exactly how it happens, right? What does that boring daily routine now going to look like that's ultimately going to add up, right? The Did You Sweat Todays, the reason why they're so effective is because they're not something new. They're not the newest exercise routine. They're not here's the 6 different ones to do today. Here's the stay away from this when you eat. Here's the latest. It's none of that, guys. It's just, did you sweat today? Simple. That's it. That's why it works. It'll work today. It works 30 years from now. It works 500 years from now. It worked 2,000 years ago. It's just, stay away from the shiny, flashy, whatever. And it's just, what do you do every day, guys? So, hey, love you guys. I'll have some announcements coming soon in regards to the 2020 advance. I'd love for you guys to tell me below what your goal is. I'd really love to see that, right? And what you're committed to do to actually hit that goal, okay? I told you, and I'm very transparent with you guys. I want to hit over 10,000 students. I want to hit over 2,500 CRM users. I won't share the other ones with you yet because I'm waiting for the exact releases and stuff, and so I need them to make sense, so I'm not just going to guess at stuff. Share your goals with me, guys. Share with me what you're going to do to get there. Whether that means, how you're going to do it with your coach, if that means I'm going to sign up for a coach, if that means, I'm going to reach out and get a transaction coordinator and get that going. If that means that's it, I'm biting the bullet, I'm coming to the mastermind. If that means, what does that mean to you? Okay. Post that below, guys. Like I said, I love you. I hope you have an awesome New Year's. I hope that I get to see so many of you in person this year. I know that I'm doing the Century 21 event international. I'm doing the Remax international event. I'm doing, I'm doing a bunch of different events. But just stay in touch, guys. Connectwithjared.com. The easiest way to stay in touch, guys. Go on there. Be following along on Instagram and those kind of places. I tend to post where I'm going, what I'm doing. If I get any chance, guys, I'd love to catch up with you, say hello when I'm in town, come to your event, whatever it is. We offer a wide variety of different products and stuff, and we work our butts off behind the scenes to make them the best possible for you. And it mean the world to me if you guys use as many of those as possible, because it's a lot of work, a lot of money. I mean, talk about putting something on the line. I spent over $1 million building a CRM, and it's working really good now. So you should check it out. Okay. Guys, if you watch this, you enjoy it, give it a thumbs up. Post below what your goal is and what you're going to do, in order to actually hit that, guys. But hey, let's I said this at the 2019 Advance, guys. There is plenty of room in this world, in this industry, for everyone to eat, okay? There is plenty of room for everyone to be successful. There is plenty of room for you to root for everybody else, okay? I live my life this way. Let's be different. I live my life that way. Let's be different. Let's not, I'm one of the most competitive people you'll ever meet, but let's not compete to the point that we think that in order for us to grow, someone else has to become smaller, that in order for us to get, a bigger slice of the pie, we have to take somebody else's. There's plenty of room for everybody. Okay. So let's root for each other. Let's use this group to support each other. Let's post great ideas and tactics that have worked. Let's use the products and services that are offered, through my company, through this service that we're all connected with. But hey, guys, let's just root for each other, okay? Love y'all. Hope you have a good one. Talk to you soon.